Hi, and welcome back, everybody. Excuse my voice, I had an allergy attack this weekend, so I'm a little rough around the edges. I'll do my best to speak clearly. First of all, let me talk about the C-44. Very briefly, it's my second vehicle. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I was building a rock crawler. It looked nice on the shelf, performed horribly. As a matter of fact, the vehicle is currently sitting on cinder blocks until I can fund some new modifications for it. Now to the subject of the video. I've seen other content creators refer to this brand as cheap. I believe it's far from cheap. I think a better label for it would be entry-level hobby grade. But knowing people, when you hear cheap, you think low quality. And these vehicles are far from low quality. I still have my original C-44. It's still stock and running all its original parts that it came with. It's a trail truck, and that's how I've treated it. The only time that things break is when you try to push them a little further. I was putting race engines in the transmissions of some of my other ones. Well, they didn't last the battery pack. WPL has listened when it comes to upgrading certain parts. Good example were the axle trusses. Used to be notorious for breaking. I haven't really heard or seen too many complaints about those here in the past, but I also understand that cheap also means inexpensive. Now I can agree that these are relatively inexpensive, and it's a great place to start and learn. If I would have had one of these first when I was younger, I would probably have stayed with the hobby. But my very first kit when I was about 10 years old was the Tamiya Hornet. I think I drove it like 4 or 5 times, took eons for the battery to charge. Nothing wrong with the vehicle. I think I was just too young for it. The passion was there, but the financial stability to maintain that vehicle wasn't. And I could see as a parent why I wouldn't have wanted to continue buying parts for this vehicle. They were expensive at the time. Now we have WPL and other brands similar to it, where the parts are abundant and affordable. So when you have one of these vehicles, you can learn to do things to them, learn to modify them, and not be afraid of breaking something because you can't afford to replace a piece. I recently went to the big box stores to peruse the RCI, and when I looked at their cheap RCs, number one, they weren't cheap, they were quite expensive. Number two, their quality was cheap in the sense that they weren't meant to last. The build quality isn't there, the material quality isn't there, so forth and so on. Performance is non-existent. Quality is there with this vehicle, the construction material is there with this vehicle, so please, don't refer to these vehicles as cheap. And if you are, be specific what you mean. These are cheap in price, not cheap in build or quality. Modify them. I am recording.